When I said no, my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
Yes, friends, and today is the moment because you get to meet my most amazing new guest. You're going to ring the victory bell for being here and being so amazing. And yes, I use amazing so many times, don't I? Because Aime Sponza, an inspirational speaker and certified transformational coach, guiding women to navigate changes. She helps them to clarify their dream vision, clear mental, emotional clutter, create accelerated results, craft richer, more fulfilling lives with 40 plus years in the art, and yet she's still 29. Her approach combines the creative process with proven, reliable systems, tools, and strategies. Her clients uncover their authentic selves. They help shift their mindsets and act towards a goal with Aime as a partner in believing. Wow. So without any further delay, let's welcome the one, the only, the person that walked uphill to school both ways, barefoot, the one and only Aime Sponza. Welcome, Aime. How are you doing today?
That was quite a welcome, Raja.
Well,
Wow,
that's
I
what I
love it.
do because I love amazing guests, so that's why I always like to do that. Make sure you click the link down below for Potapalooza so you get credit and you can join in and get all of the VIP upgrades. So, tell me, Aime, like this one incredible story. Tell me a little bit more about, how do you do your coaching process?
Well, how do I do it? It starts with a connection
Hmm.
with my client and finding out what is it that is missing,
Yeah,
because we're either pulled by a longing or a discontent,
yeah,
and it's getting to that desire for something different, and that's where I was when
yeah.
I found coaching. And I was frustrated and stuck in a job that was just not fulfilling to me. And you mentioned 40 years in the creative arts. I've been an actor and uh, in the theater for since I was a kid.
Oh,
And
nice.
I co-founded a theater company called Northeast Stage in
Uh-huh.
1983. Shh. And I'm still running it. We do Shakespeare in the Park and all that. So
Oh, pretty
uh,
cool.
I I just felt called to go down this path of leading people to use their talents and gifts in a way that lights them up, because
Yes.
we deserve to be the stars of our own life, right?
Oh my God, I love that.
Yes,
Absolutely. You can be the
yes.
stars of your own life.
Yeah, be the star, be the director of your life. You get to decide what your life is going to be like. And we do that either by design or by default. The
Hmm.
most successful people lead their lives by design. They design how they want to live their lives, and the unfortunately the majority of us just go about doing the same stuff different day
Yep.
and live by default. We do the
Yep.
same things day after day. And my suggestion to you is to think up, if everything worked out the way you would absolutely love it,
Uh-huh.
what would you love? What would you love your life to look like and feel
Ooh,
like?
kind of like
And
quantify your love of your life.
yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
really, like, use all your senses and really come up with the design of, who are you with, and
Hmm.
what are you doing, and are you experiencing, like, are there aromas in the air? Who are you, what are you seeing? Are you inside or out? Just like really full-fledged design every detail. Like,
Gotcha.
what is your bank account like? And
Hmm.
What are you generating? What are you creating? And you start from there, even if you don't know how, because we don't know
No,
how all that. We
and
don't know.
and you touched
And
upon
that's
this
none of our
earlier.
business.
You touched about this earlier. Sometimes people have to do a shift. They have to do a pivot, whether it's in their life or their
Yes.
business. So,
Mhm.
can you deep dive a little more? You said that you had something happen and you had to do a pivot in your life. Can you go into why you
Yeah.
have to do it?
Well, I've worked for my family's business
Yeah,
most of my life, on and off.
yeah,
In between pursuing my acting career in New York,
yeah.
we have a marina business, and my brother was like,
Hmm.
"Can we talk? Because you're clearly unhappy, and it's
Um,
affecting everyone around you at work." And
yeah.
I didn't realize that how I felt was so obvious. Um, and that was a great gift he gave me, to point that out and to say, I think you should take the time you need to go figure out what is going to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Oh,
found this
love that.
coaching program,
Yeah.
and I did a pivot. And
Oh,
I
love
really feel like this has called me to use my talents and gifts as a creative artist,
it. Mm-hmm.
and as a leader of a company, to allow people to encourage people to use their imaginations to create, if you will, the script for their life,
Right.
right? whether
Mhm.
whether it's a stage play or a film or a radio show or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like, to imagine you're describing, the twilight zone. I don't know, if you were in the twilight zone, what do you want your life to look like? Yeah.
Yeah.
You get in your DeLorean and go back to the future, and
Wow. So here's a
and
fun question for you. So
yeah.
that makes me think about, if you could go back in time, take that time machine, what would your current self say to your teenage self to help you shape your life?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I think I would say you are more powerful than you realize.
Yes, Marianne
Ye
Williamson. Mm-hmm.
Yes. You are so powerful, and what you think about, you create. And
Mm-hmm.
and you create everything, and I learned this, everything is created twice, first in thought and then in form. So, for
Ooh,
example,
yeah.
right, in high school, my term paper was on natural childbirth,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
I researched a couple of different ways. And then while I was doing all that, I thought, when I get to be, at that point in my life, I want two children, one of each, um, so that, not creating, we're replacing ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I have one daughter and one son.
Yeah.
I
So do I.
created it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just manifested because I told my wife, actually, like, I told my wife, and so this is a point of a dissension, or contention between my daughter and my son, because he asked, like, because they always ask me, like, which one did you want first, the boy or the girl? I said, well, either one is fine, but I just figured,
Healthy.
it'd be good to have one or the other. And now we got one of each. We got the boy first, we got the girl second, and they're just, I can't imagine not having my second child, because then my son would be alone. It's
Yeah.
such a different household when you have one kid versus more than one kid. And I'm so glad we have more than one,
Mhm.
because they fight all the time. And the 13 and my daughter, she's about to turn 13. My son is 15, so they're 2 years apart.
Mm.
And it's crazy to see how much fun they have, because they have to deal and negotiate and learn to accept and tolerate each other throughout the
Yes,
day in
yes,
many different ways,
yes.
and that
Yeah,
changes your life. So
yeah.
so when you start changing that mindset of people, you know,
Mhm.
you have a success story that you can share with us, without
Oh,
divulging anyone's names.
yes, of course. Well, actually, um, one of my most successful clients to date,
Yeah,
was also an actor and a writer.
yeah.
And when she came to me, she was on medical leave from her job because her
Ooh.
job had made her so sick,
Mm-hmm.
she had to leave. And it was a complete leap of faith for her to
Yeah.
invest in herself. And after going through a 12-week program with me, actually in week 8, she
Yeah.
had described what she wanted was a
Yeah.
six-figure job as an executive assistant with a hybrid work situation so she would have time to write her book.
Right.
And she was already, working on a resume and making appointments for interviews. And in week 8, she got the exact job she had described to
Huh.
me.
No way.
Amazing. She, working with people that she liked, it was hybrid. It was the exact amount she wanted. I
Yeah.
coached her when she went in to imagine that the job was already hers.
Yeah.
And she was thrilled. And I checked back with her a few months later, and she had sort of backslid just a little. So she did 2.0 with me in a group setting
Yeah.
and decided she was going to self-publish her book. And now her
Cool.
book is being sold on Barnes and Noble and
Woo.
Amazon, and she's won an award already. So
Fantastic.
it's amazing to go from being on medical leave to being now all over TikTok promoting her book.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know what that experience feels like because I've been through that journey. And I'm not going to talk about me. I want to talk more about you. Let's go into what I call our speed dating round here. Short and quick here. Favorite movie that inspired you?
Oh, um, oh my gosh, I'm such a
Or favorite
movie
book?
person. Um, well, and there are quite a few books
Yeah.
lately, but Napoleon Hill, right?
Yep. Think and Grow Rich. Yep. That's one of the first ones that I started also. Can you hear me? Think we lost you. You got muted somehow. Let's see.
There we go.
There
My
you go. You actually muted somehow. Okay.
yeah.
We're good. Favorite favorite kind of music.
Oh, I would say, well, when I was a kid, my favorite was John Denver.
Nice,
But
nice.
I've
Yeah.
expanded quite a bit since then. It's a variety. I like a variety, but easy
Hmm.
listening, I think, probably.
Cool. All right. Favorite quote.
Favorite quote. Um, yeah. Well, I think one of the ones that I mentioned was wh- uh, this one comes from Wayne Dyer.
Okay.
If you change the way you think about things, the
Hmm.
things you think about change. Something to that effect.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. That reminds me of like a Viktor Frankl quote. Have you read As a Man Thinketh? Viktor Frankl was in a like a Nazi war camp and had to
Oh,
learn to
yes.
compartmentalize his mind.
Yes.
And one of my favorite quotes from that was he had said, um, there is uh, sometimes you have 0% control over what happens to you, but you have 100% control over your perception
Yes.
of what happens to you.
Exactly.
And I always find that like fascinating. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, when you change the angle of how you view something, it
Yeah.
completely changes your whole life.
Right.
Yeah. What
And
about?
it's sort of like
Uh,
Ford's, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
mm-hmm. Henry Ford said that. Yep,
Yeah.
correct. And that is so true. Um, so I want to ask you one more question, and you'll laugh at this. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, dark chocolate.
Oh, you're gonna ring the
Yeah.
bell for that. Yes. Oh, I love dark chocolate too. You know, it's I keep it really minimal because of my health goals, but
Hmm.
every once in a while you're
Yes.
allowed to indulge. It's great stuff. Well, listen, we're almost near our time here, so I wanted to ask you one great question here, and this is as always, you know, if someone gave you a blank check
Mm.
with unlimited resources, what is your grand vision to change the world?
Mm. I would want to grow the ripple effect of this I would want to reach as many people as I could, especially creative artists who all have such amazing stories to tell, so that more of them could be heard. And for women in particular to have to increase their voice in the world and be living the best life they can, because that has an amazing ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Generationally, it has an amazing ripple effect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amy. You've been an amazing guest. And for everyone else that's been on here, this is Coach Roger. As always, don't fake it till you make it, believe it, and become it. And we see everyone on the next show. Bye-bye.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.